Hello, welcome to our series on
Hi.
clarification. We're going to do a few hot potatoes now, and that is the things that have become slightly controversial and therefore can be quite confusing.
Yep.
And the first is, I think, a really burning question of people that come to the bottled up family side is my husband or partner or father or child an alcoholic?
Yeah.
Okay, so can I first of all talk about the term
Yeah.
alcoholic? Do people use that anymore?
Yes, they do, and they don't. The professionals tend to not use the term so much these days, except you kind of know what when you look at alcohol agencies or rehabs, then you kind of know if they're using the term alcoholic, they're probably coming from the sort of 12-step side of it. The others tend to use things like problem drinking and dependence.
Okay, so does the fact that you have to start a 12-step meeting saying, I'm Frida and I'm an alcoholic, does that mean they've been a little bit then tied in now to a terminology that they might want to update but probably...
No, I don't think AA will want to update because they're called Alcoholics Anonymous, so I very much doubt if they're going to update them, you know. And they see it as they've been very successful using this approach and these terms, so it's fine.
Okay, so what's the modern euphemism for a drink problem?
It tends to be dependence.
Drink dependent.
Yeah, are you dependent on alcohol? But for the lay person, that doesn't tend to mean an awful lot. The word alcoholic is useful in as much as it's a shortcut. I mean, right to the...
Shortcut, shorthand.
Sorry, shorthand.
Yeah.
Sorry, shorthand for problem drinking. When we first started the website, we decided that, in our wisdom, that we would use the term problem drinking. Nobody found us, you know. And what we have to...
from Google, nobody found you.
Nobody found us, you know, because nobody's typing in problem drinker. That was the problem. You know, so we then went back to use the term alcoholic. And we use the term alcoholic because that's the people who are searching for the help, that's the terms that they use. So there's no point in using a term that they don't use and they can't find the help.
So you're saying it's more a description now than an actual medical diagnosis?
Yes,
okay.
I would.
Yeah,
I would definitely say that.
Right.
Although, again, if you go to the 12-step side of it, the side that see it as a disease, and we're going to talk about that shortly, then the term alcoholic tends to be used quite freely. If you go to the sort of the less 12-steppy approach, then they tend to use the term problem drinker, drink abuse, or dangerous drinking, or dependence. But dependence tends to be the term that's used.
Okay. I have to say that for me asking that question, it was definitely not to find out about my drinker, but to stop the confusion in my own life. A label kind of would have felt amazing if someone said that to me, because then I had a place to start.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people come to the likes of Bottled Up and other places looking for... In fact, one of the most common terms that's typed in is my husband, wife, partner, whatever, an alcoholic. You know,
which is what we're calling the title.
Because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for, you know, am I going mad? You know, I keep telling my drinker that they've got a problem with their drinking, and they say, oh no, I haven't. And therefore you go and you look for confirmation so that you can say, look, yes, I have the proof. But the problem with the term alcoholic, and this is a real problem with it, is that how do you define an alcoholic?
I was just thinking that,
And I used to say, half jokingly, but full serious, you know, an alcoholic is somebody else. It's not me. Because every alcoholic can find somebody who drinks more than them, drinks more often than them, drinks more chaotically than them, has greater consequences than them, and therefore can't be me, must be him or her, you know. And that's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is that people's view of an alcoholic, and I remember seeing two views side by side, and it was two people talking. One believed it was a person from Skid Row, you know, with the two coats and the bit of string tied around it, you know, homeless. That was an alcoholic. And the other one thought it was somebody who had an expense account and had a boardroom because they had booze round about them all the time. You couldn't get two more different views. And this is the problem, is what people understand by than alcohol.
And let's just drill down to, before we finish, to the emotional content of that question. Is, please somebody tell me it's all right for me to be really struggling with what's going on in front of my nose with the alcohol.
I think the approach that we take is, if it's causing a problem, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and that problem, and that's why we use a tool called SHARE when we look at, you know, safety. Are you safe when the person drinks? Well, it could be. It might be that they're violent. It might be that they drink and drive. It might be that
the house is not safe.
You know,
yeah.
Health is your health affected by it. And if you look at the statistics, then anxiety, depression, and you know, and medical use are very, very high with people who live with an alcoholic. Ambition. Is this the way you really want to live? Is this the way you dreamed that, you know, life was going to turn out? Relationships. Is the relationship between you and your drinker good, bad, indifferent? Is the relationship between your friends, your family, you know, as your friendship circle dwindling? And then the last one is you can either have economics or your environment, you know, the way the house is, and etc. You know, so it's across a number of different areas, not just is the person drinking too much.
Yeah.
So is there a problem in all of these areas? And if there is, then yes, there is a problem.
So the term you're saying, alcoholic, is shorthand for a very large amount of behaviours that are impacting a family or relationship situation. So if you're here and you're taking the trouble to search us down, the answer is probably you're in a situation where your partner is abusing drink or drink dependent. So the answer to your question is probably yes. If you want to use the shorthand of alcoholic, then it might be really helpful. For you to do that. And we're going to do another video now. We're going to talk about
But the last thing I would say is that, you know, people come looking for confirmation whether the person is an alcoholic, and it's to be honest, it's actually irrelevant. The real issue is it causing a problem?
I think
that's the real problem.
I think for people who think it's a disease, it is really relevant.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to talk about that in the next, because
even a disease will cause a problem.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
It's whether there's a problem there. That's the real.
Yeah, and I absolutely totally agree with that. So come, we've done this in two halves because we're trying to keep these really short.
Yeah.
So come, and we're going to continue to talk about, you know, the if alcoholism is a disease, then is there anything we can do? So again, I think the medical opinions have changed on that one. So we're going to be talking about that. Thank you for listening. Again, comment if you want to.
Yep.
We're always really interested to hear what you've got to say. All right, bye-bye. Talk to you soon.
Okay.